Idiots and viewers, my name is Kiss and welcome back to KTB Network. Today I'm reacting to Ashley Burch finally speaks on Chloe and Life is Strange Double Exposure. Finally, let's get to the tea. I've been wanting to know what's been happening, what's been going on. Like y'all got beef? What's going on? I don't think was Ashley the original chick for Chloe. I don't know. Y'all let me know. I know it's two girls, but yeah, let's continue. Let's watch what she has to say. Finally, from Podcast Now. Finally getting into nitty gritty now that the developers got fired, or the directors, I think.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk a little bit about Ashley Burch and Life is Strange. She was finally asked the question, and, it's not too long. I don't want to make too big of a deal on it. It's one video, and then I'm going to leave this alone, okay, to be fair to everybody. But
Okay.
She was asked about Life is Strange, amongst other things, in The Gamer. Okay, The Gamer is the website that interviewed her, talked about AI, talked about Aloy. It's a pretty good read if you guys want to read through the whole thing. But, okay, she was asked specifically about Life is Strange, and let's read what she said, and I'll kind of go over some of my thoughts on it. And again, there's not too much there just in general. So, when it was revealed in Double Exposure that Max and Chloe broke up and went their separate ways well into adulthood, despite sacrificing Arcadia Bay to ensure their love stood intact, it didn't sit right with a lot of fans. Burch felt the same, but as an actor, it's a direction you have little choice but to respect. They decided that's what was best for the game, and I respect that, Burch says. With my own canon in my head, I might not have written it that way, but we all got our own headcanon, so it's a funny thing.
And their headcanons failed. It had potential, but it failed.
To be like, I love
Also, I played it, so check it out on the live stream tabs.
that character, and I put so much of myself in her, but she is someone else's baby now. It's an interesting thing and such a surreal part of being an actor. Now, I will say, okay, in terms of her playing by the rules, and, we've talked about this, right? I mean, we talked about it just in general with how Square Enix might view her, how Deck 9 might view her. I mean, it's very possible she's not very liked over there, right? And I mean, there's a whole history, and there's lots of threads and, forums that kind of go into it. But I will say she handles this extremely respectably. She does, what's she going to say, I guess, right? But she handles it, I would say, quite well. And she kind of says, what all of us have said. It's why, look, I'm making the video we're talking about. I don't want to make too big of a deal on it, but I also don't want to pretend like it's nothing because, like, this is Chloe. You know what I mean? I mean, yes, she was written, in my opinion, extremely well. She was such an integral part of the first Life is Strange. And there's a reason why people fell in love with her. So I think Ashley's voice carries a lot of weight. Honestly, like Hannah, you look at what Hannah said about certain decisions. You think, I mean, there's interviews, right? Actually, I think with
Hannah,
who I've had on the
so
channel
it's Hannah
here,
and
when
Ashley.
he interviewed
Okay.
Hannah Towell back in the day, and she was talking about Before the Storm, like she had opinions on how other people was writing Max, right, and that she wasn't really on board with that.
Oh wait, no, that's Max.
Again, it should carry a little bit of weight because these are the people that bring them to life. And I guess my point would be this, right? Number one, it holds a little weight because it's Ashley Burch. Number two, she's just, I really feel like echoing what a lot of people would also say. And I will say, she says it probably more respectfully than a lot of people online. There's definitely a lot of different ways to voice your opinion, what they did with Chloe. But she is right? Like the general sense of, if we could have, I'm gonna inject us into it, right? Not
This scene is a little cringe now looking back. Like, why would you go back and try to pull on the strings of Life is Strange 1 when you're trying to move on from Max and Chloe? Like, why would you do that?
just her. If we could have written Double Exposure, would we have written Max and Chloe to do that? And the answer is, I think most people would not have done that. And you do kind of have to be able to say, all right, well, those characters are not necessarily theirs anymore. When I say theirs, I guess I mean Don't Nod, right? So now it moves to Deck 9, and they kind of have to breathe this this new life into it. So from that angle, like, I get the point, but let me just say, like, the thing that's tough and the thing that I think Deck 9, and I always try to come at this, right, from respect, and I always try to come at this from, like, please just listen. Please just try to take in what fans are saying. And I know not all fans have done this, again, in the most respectful way, but, like, all you have is your fans. All you have is the people that made Life is Strange 1 important. I say it over and over and over. Have whatever opinion you want on any of the other Life is Strange games, okay? I know we differ, you and I, on some of our opinions on these other games, but one will forever be special. One will forever, in my opinion, probably be the best Life is Strange game. And there's a reason, why that game still hangs out in people's minds. There's a reason why that game is so popular. So it is true that you do have to give a little bit of leeway, because I can imagine myself as a creator, right? Like you take on a property and you're gonna want to inject a little
That game just hits you so hard, like, and you just want to download all the soundtracks.
something new, a little something different into that, even though it wasn't yours to begin with. Well, you kind of have to make it yours at a certain point. But you also, okay, and this is where my maybe controversial opinion comes in, I am really one of listening to the fans, and maybe that's because of YouTube and all this stuff, but even as I've gotten older, like, again, you've got to respect the fans, and I think you got to respect that when you're getting this property.
There's a way to respect your fan base and also your own creative process, because if you listen to the fans too much, then you're doing fan service all the way. And it doesn't necessarily gear towards the story you're trying to tell. So it's all about finding a good balance.
When you're getting Max and Chloe, you got to respect why they're even around.
Because I don't know if anybody watches like the Vampire Diaries or the originals and Legacies, but to me it's that show went from like a really good creative direction to just complete fan service, and it just felt like a really flanderized version of itself because they were just focusing on all these ships.
When you're bringing Max back, you got to respect why Max is even popular in the first place. You got to you know what I mean? Like, you have to have that in your mind. And so to make that decision, and look, I mean, to a degree, I defended it going in. And I think, and it's still to this day, okay, is it believable that those two could break up? 100%. And I said that a month before it came out, 2 months before it came out, when it was coming out. Is it believable that they could theoretically break up because of something? The answer is yes. But I just feel you got to come at it from a place of respect and love of the characters and of the story. And I feel like that's what was missing, right?
Right.
There's a difference between injecting your own, like what you want, into something that's not yours, right? But you inherit it. So you want to change it, right? But there's a difference between just doing it and then kind of doing it with, again, with the knowledge of, like, why people love it. With the knowledge of, like, well, you're receiving it for a reason. And that's what I think was missing. I think that they jumped the gun. Really, I mean, it really all boils down to that. They jumped the gun. I don't really think they put a lot of thought into it. Now, there's more to. I don't want to get. I don't want to make this like a.
I think they were on a time crunch. They had a deadline. They said, "You don't make this in a specific time frame, you're going to be fired." They got fired anyway because they underdelivered, and so the rush product. Thus, the rush product.
20-30 minute video, right? We've talked about it. Like, how much of this is Deck 9? Square Enix might hate Ashley Burch. Like, at the end of the day, we don't know everything. And even people that might know things, they might not know everything, okay? We don't know. But you never know. Like, Deck 9, what decisions do they get to make versus Square Enix? Bottom line is, somebody jumped the gun. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I think that was the problem. Because I do think it is
the
believable
remastered version
that you could do something like that. But the way that it was handled was not, I think, with care. I think it was kind of jumping the gun and saying, okay, well, we're just going to make it like that just because, and we're not really, we're literally moving on, but we're going to move on so hard and so fast that we don't even want you to think about it. And that's where they messed up. And I mean, I get, look, if the decision is like, we cannot have Chloe in this game, and if it's not even their freaking decision to do it, what are you supposed to do? But there's got to be a better way. There's got to be. And ultimately, I mean, look, I can keep kind of going back and somewhat defending them, but also kind of understanding both sides. I can do.
What they could have done is just have Chloe and Max on a break, and not necessarily say that they're breaking up, but they're just taking a break and Max is going on her solo path. That could have been the game to figure. But then again, that people are just either they're liking Neurogum or L-theanine, but
do that all day long. At the end of the day, the game failed. The game did not make the money. The game hurts. The game, you look at the future, and sometimes you have to face like harsh criticism. So no matter how fair I am trying to be, in these, and just honestly trying to understand the situation, you do have to take a hard look in the mirror and say, this didn't work. So something went majorly wrong. This is a big part of it, but I also think just that respect for the fandom and respect for the origins of Life is Strange, that is what went wrong. You got, and plus other, by the way, plus other things. It's not just that. But you got to be willing to hear that. Well, you don't want to just let them off the hook and say, well, it is what it is. They're the new creators. There's nothing we can, you know what I mean? It's up to them now.
I always use that saying, and I hate it so much.
They're going to make these characters their own. But there's a point, I think, of pushback a little bit and saying, well, treat these characters with respect, please. You know, there's a reason why we bought this game and supported this game for so long. If you're going to bring these characters back, it needs to be done with the feel of that you care. If you're going to bring them back and you're not going to care, how dare you? True, and this is, okay, I'll get a little aggressive here. How dare you expect the fans to follow you with that? You know, and now fans can follow you through, but how dare anybody expect that the fans will do that? Because why should they? Why should they do it? And ultimately, again, the harsh truths, specifically with this game, Double Exposure, it didn't work. So something went wrong there. So I know I made this a lot more about just like Ashley's comments there, but you know, she's saying what everybody else is saying. She's coming at it from a slightly different angle, and she's right. And the people that say, hey, you know, you got to give them the chance to kind of do their own thing, they're right too. But it was obviously something that really ticked off a good portion of the fan base. And when you have a game that's as niche as Life is Strange, and it really is. It's, I mean, Life is Strange 1 was pretty darn freaking big, right? But that was really the only one that was.
When you have a game that's this small, you can't just do whatever you want. That is also that's an excellent point. Like, you know, I guess with GTA 6, they can be as woke as they want, but the repercussions will come. It will come. It is a monster game, but it will come. Because if you come out with 7, ain't nobody gonna buy that if it's a hot mess, you know? So yeah, you can't really do what you want as a niche game. He is correct.
It's big. Don't fool yourself into thinking these other games were like the biggest things of all time. You really have like this really great group, by the way, great group of Life is Strange community people. That's what you have. That's what you're building on. And when all else is lost, that's all you have. So to go after them or to hurt their feelings is not really something you really want to mess with.
It's not something you want to do.
Because they're all you got. So let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Subscribe to this man. But yeah, he brought up some really excellent points. I didn't think about that. It's a niche game. Yes. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what other gaming videos you want me to react to. Like and subscribe if you vibe. Become a view today. And I'll check you guys out on live streams. Take care. Thanks for stopping by.